Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Now we have an exciting one for you all today. We're going to be working on the V12 powered BMW 760 Li, and what are we going to be doing? We are going to be tackling the cooling system. So we're going to be replacing a number of the cooling system components. We're going to be replacing the water pump, the thermostat, the fan clutch, the fan wheel, and we're also going to be tackling one of the most common issues with regards to coolant leaks on these engines. Now, for those of you that are aware, the BMW N62 V8 engine and the BMW N73 V12 engine both suffer from the same type of coolant leak. Now, to repair or replace this coolant transfer pipe, you are talking thousands of pounds because it pretty much requires an entire engine disassembly. Now, there is a company called Bmw. They are located in the US of A, and they have came up with a genius method of tackling this common problem. Now, Bmw have kindly supplied the kit to install in today's video. It does come with instructions, so we are going to be following along step by step. Now, I just want to say as well, my car, this engine is not currently suffering from any coolant leak of any kind. I'm really just doing this out of preventative maintenance. I know it is a very common problem. My car is on 145,000 miles now, so it probably does need doing if it hasn't already been done already. Now, the fact that I am, replacing the water pump, the thermostat, the fan clutch, the fan wheel itself, we may as well just tackle this job today because you need to actually remove all those things to do this job. So I'd rather just do it all at one time. Now, let me show you the other parts that we're going to be installing today as well. So as I mentioned, we have a brand new water pump. Now, this is a genuine OEM. This is by a company called Soleri. I think I said that right. Soleri, they're an Italian company. They make the genuine BMW water pumps for this engine. If you take a look on there, you should be able to see that the BMW logo has actually been scratched out. And when it comes to the thermostat, this is a Marley thermostat. Marley or Bear, they're pretty much the same company. As you can see, genuine BMW logo again has been scratched out. When it comes to the fan clutch, we have a Marley fan clutch, again genuine OEM. Then when it comes to the fan wheel, again Marley, genuine OEM. Let's get these installed. Okay then, so as you can see, the 760 Li is up in the air. I've already popped the bonnet. The reason it's up in the air is because I need to drain the coolant first. So if we can access the radiator drain plug, which I've already removed the under tray, so we can do. Now, usually you should be able to just fit a flat bladed screwdriver in this valve here, but for whatever reason someone's done it on way too tight, so I'm just going to have to use some pliers and slowly crack it loose. Yeah, it's definitely turning, so we'll grab our bucket ready. And to make that drain a little bit easier, I'm just going to take the cap off of the expansion tank. As you can see, it's really starting to drain now. And while I let that drain away, I'm just going to start removing the engine covers. So this one in the center here just pulls up. Just be careful not to snap it though. There we are. And this one at the front as well should be held in by some dowels, but they've all snapped off by a previous owner, it looks like. And we have these 4 Torx 25 screws holding this front cover in place. And voila. And now we still have access to absolutely nothing. But we'll continue. Okay then, so now that we have the covers removed, we need to remove both the fan wheel and also the fan clutch. Now you have to remove them both together. Now you are supposed to use a special tool. I guess it's just a bar with a couple of holes in that go over the bolts on the water pump. But I'm going to actually show you a way that you don't even need to use a special tool. You just need to use the 32mm wrench and a hammer. Okay, so to remove the fan clutch the easy way, you need to make sure you still have the drive belt in place. So because this is a left-handed thread, we need to rotate the nut clockwise. So all I'm going to do is drop my wrench in place and I'm going to smack down on the top. Now essentially you are impacting the nut off, so all you need to do is keep tapping this, and remember we are going to rotate this clockwise to undo it. And there we go, simple as that. It's already cracked loose and we should be able to just rotate this off then. So now that we have the fan wheel and the fan clutch removed, we just need to try and maneuver this thing out of here. It is very tight, but where there is a will, there is a way. Ah, there we are, wasn't too hard. So as you can see then, that is the original BMW fan clutch and the fan wheel now removed. And now that we have the fan out of the way, I guess next thing we can do is remove the main drive belt itself. Now down here we have an automatic tensioner. Now I appreciate it that you can't see very well, but in here there is a slot which takes a T60 socket, so we need to insert that in there, rotate it clockwise, and then we should be able to just slip the drive belt off. Yes! Right, so the socket is in place, the breaker bar is on, we just need to rotate this clockwise, take the tension off the belt, and then slide the belt off. He says, doesn't seem to be much give in this tensioner. This belt's definitely loose. Come on, come on, that's it, the belt's off. There we go. And there's a lot of pulleys that this thing needs to go around. Come on. The reason that I'm removing it completely is because I do have a complete brand new drive belt kit to go on, of course. Is this the original? This is a... No, this looks fairly new actually, to be honest. It is a Continental one. Oh, genuine BMW. BMW Contitech. No idea the date. But yeah, it looks fairly new. It's in good condition. Maybe some very small minor cracks, but yeah, I would say this isn't that old at all. But like I said, we are pretty much overhauling everything. We have a new tensioner, new idler pulley, new belt, new tensioner and belt for the AC pulley as well. What is next then? I guess you can start disassembling the water pump, but I think what I'm actually going to do is get these airbox resonators out of the way. So I have to remove the intake pipes because they are kind of in the way. I need to disconnect a few coolant hoses. So yeah, let's get the airboxes and the intake pipes out of the way, and then we should be able to see a little bit better down there. There we go. There we go. There we go. We should lift off. Yep. Okay, so this is what we're looking like at the moment. As you can see, a slight improvement in the accessibility, but not a great deal. I have already went ahead and disconnected these electrical connectors. Now I think next thing we need to do is disconnect the coolant hoses. So there is one that goes here into the top of the water pump, and then one that goes there to the thermostat, and then I think we can start unbolting the thermostat and water pump all together in one piece after we have removed the pulley, I believe. Okay, let's see how these coolant hoses come off then. Oh, that one was fairly uneventful, as was that one. Not too bad at all. Okay, so it turns out that I lied. There was in fact 3 coolant hoses, just this small one here. And again, it came off relatively easy. Now what I'm going to do is remove the pulley itself, just had in by 4 10mm bolts. Now these should not be tight, they're probably only hand tight. And the reason I'm doing that is just to give me better access to remove the 5 water pump bolts themselves. Yep, not very tight at all. And now I'm just imagining the water pump pulley will come off with no issues whatsoever. And yeah, that didn't quite go to plan. So this thing is pretty stuck, and I think it's just plastic, so yeah, I don't want to end up breaking this in because we do need to reuse it. The pulley is absolutely fine, but we do need to get it off there. So let's give it a few taps first of all. No, it didn't magically make it fall off. Let's get the biggest crowbar we have and just prise it off. No, let's not do that. Slowly, slowly. We'll pry it away. And there we are. Easy peasy. That's the pulley removed then. Yeah, like I said, still in good condition. And is it plastic? I really don't know. I mean, it does have rust on it, but I think that is from the water pump itself. So yeah, I think this is just plastic. And now can we access all 5 10mm bolts to remove the water pump? I think we should be able to. See how tight they are. Not very. No, not very at all. Okay, so coolant hose is now removed. Definitely the most difficult to remove because you're kind of doing it blindly. I did use a mirror to help me out a little bit, but everything is kind of backwards. So yeah, just take your time when removing this one. And yeah, I have also removed the 10mm bolt, the water pump bolt that is situated down there as well. Now there is in fact one more bolt which sits directly in the center of the water pump underneath it. And yeah, we kind of have a problem. Now the bolt itself is actually covered by the crankshaft pulley, which is this thing right here at the bottom. And yeah, we kind of have 2 options. Now we can remove the crankshaft pulley itself, which ideally I don't want to do, or we can try and get in with a regular wrench if we remove this tensioner right here. Now because I am already going to be removing this tensioner anyway, I figured I may as well try and get in with the wrench after removing this tensioner. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. I believe it's just held in by 1 big bolt. So yeah, we'll undo that, remove the tensioner, and then see if we can get in with a wrench. Success! So we managed to remove the tensioner. Like I said, it's just held in by this 1 bolt. It's a 16mm bolt. When I got that removed, I managed to get a regular 10mm wrench just about on the bolt. Had to sort of a quarter of a turn at a time, and the bolt itself is fully removed. I can't quite remove it from its slot because the water pump is in the way, but it is completely out of the engine block. So once I can pull the water pump away, the bolt should just fall down then. Let's try and give the water pump a bit of a wobble and see if it's held in by anywhere else. Oh, now we have movement. Now there is still another hose that goes into this thing. It goes to the alternator because the alternator is a water-cooled one, but there isn't any way to disconnect it, so I assume the water pump just kind of pulls off it. Yeah, it does. Okay, so the water pump and thermostat is now free, I believe. Yeah. That's interesting. So I can see a bunch of sealant between the thermostat and the water pump, which obviously this shouldn't have sealant between here. So someone has definitely had this apart before. I mean, they kind of look the same age. I'm guessing these are original. I can't really see any date on here. But yeah, this is definitely a genuine BMW part, and it is in fact the same manufacturer that we have bought. It says made in Italy. But yeah, I don't know why someone has sealed these two together. Maybe it was leaking from here before and they've just done a cheap fix. I don't know, but yeah, we have replacement water pump and replacement thermostat anyway. The only thing we need to do is remove this sensor here. I guess it's a coolant temperature sensor. Okay, so what I've done is just try to give myself as best access as possible. So I've tied this vacuum hose up out of the way, disconnected the upper radiator hose that is now down out of the way, and we have pretty good access to this general area now. And I did actually intend on doing a step-by-step of me installing the Bmw stent, but it actually comes with a step-by-step guide, and you're probably just going to be better off just, you know, reading the instructions step by step. And the fact that I can't really get a camera up, down and inside of here anyway, it's probably better that I just get on and install this, and then obviously you can, you know, watch me installing the water pump, thermostat and everything else that we're going to be doing today as well. So yeah, I'm going to crack on, read through these instructions, make sure we have everything, which I'm sure we do. As you can see, everything is supplied nicely. We even have 2 pairs of gloves. We have this cleaning stick here. We have a piece of wood with some sandpaper on, so you can make sure everything is nice and smooth. And we have these brushes for applying the adhesive that we need to use to really seal this thing in. So yeah, I'm going to crack on, get all this installed, and then I'll check in with you when I'm done. So as we can see, the stent is now installed and firmly in place. We actually have to give it 24 hours for the sealant to go off completely. And so that's 24 hours before we can start adding coolant back into the system. Now, I actually had to jack up the car a little bit more just to get the coolant to run to the back of the engine. You don't want coolant interfering with the sealant when it's going off. Obviously, when it's gone off after the 24 hours, you're pretty much fine. But I am actually going to leave this now overnight, and then in the morning I will resume and, you know, reinstall the water pump and all the rest of it. In the meantime, what I've done is got the water pump ready for reinstallation. Now the pulley isn't attached, so I've just put that there with the bolts all in place just so I know where they go. The thermostat, however, is fully installed. Obviously has an O-ring on the inside. Then I've also torqued down the 3 bolts that hold that in place. I've also installed and torqued down the coolant temperature sensor, and I've also went ahead and installed the new fan clutch to the new fan blade wheel. Okay, so it is in fact the next day now, and the stent has fully sealed. I've left it for around 24 hours or so, so we should be now good to install the water pump, thermostat and everything else. So let's get cracking. Okay, so like I already mentioned, the water pump assembly is all ready to go in. The thermostat has been torqued down, the temperature sensor that is already installed, and the new seal is on as well. Now we need to remember the bottom bolt, this one just here, that goes in that hole, that needs to be installed first because you can't get it past the crankshaft pulley. So let's insert this. Let's try and line this up. Okay, so the water pump is now kind of in position. I have 1 bolt halfway in, and it's not the easiest of things because there is, not only is there the, you know, the regular coolant hoses that are kind of a push fit, but there's also 3 other hoses. Well, I guess 2 are hoses and 1 is kind of like a metal pipe, and they have no clips on at all. They literally just have to push in. So you have to get all those lined up, and obviously the bolt holes lined up as well. So yeah, I'm going to try and get all the bolts in, and then we will get everything else done as well. Okay, so the water pump assembly is now installed. All 5 bolts are in place, and it's just a case of torquing them up. Obviously the bottom bolt that's covered by the crankshaft pulley, not able to torque that, but I have already tightened it up with the regular wrench. So I'm going to torque the other 4 down to 10 Newton meters. So now it's just a case of connecting all of the coolant hoses back onto the water pump assembly, and then we can go ahead and put all this back and the water pump pulley as well. And now wait until the belt is reinstalled to torque down the water pump pulley bolts, because obviously it's just going to spin. And what I'm actually going to do is just reinstall the old tensioner and the old belt, just so I can get this thing running, just to make sure there's no coolant leaks. So then after, I'll probably do it in a separate video, I'll change the drive belts and the tensioners and everything. So yeah, let's get the tensioner and the drive belt back on. Okay then, so as you can see, the drive belt is back in place, automatic tensioner is back in place. I've just sort of plumbed this back in for the time being. And I did actually start the car, and yeah, everything seems to be fine, no leaks of any kind. Only thing is, the original automatic tensioner is completely shot. As you can see, it's holding like no tension in the belt, so it is slipping. Luckily, I do have a complete new drive belt kit to go on, but like I said, that'll be in a separate video. So yeah, that is just done for now. I will check in with you when we have the new drive belt and AC belt kit installed, and then we will proceed in installing the new fan blade wheel and the new fan clutch. Okay then, so we shall resume. As you can see, we have two new drive belts in place, all new tensioners, new idler pulley and all the rest of it. Now it is time to install the new fan clutch and the fan blade wheel as well. So it's just going to be a case of dropping this entire fan into place, being careful not to damage anything. It did come out of here, so it's got to go back in. There we are. And now we can just screw the new fan into place, and it is a left-handed thread. Okay, so once you have it on, just turn the fan blades. Should just screw on then until it stops. And now of course there is a torque spec for this. I believe it's 30 Newton meters, but like I said, I don't have the tool to hold the water pump in place. I think it actually should get tighter anyway as the engine spins, because it is a left-handed thread, so I don't think it is critical to torque this thing down, but I am going to try and give it a few taps anyway. I'm just going to put the 32mm wrench in place, and then we will try and shock it on. Yeah, I can feel it getting tighter. That'll do. So there we are then, that's the new fan clutch and fan blade wheel in place. I'm just going to fire it up just to make sure we don't have any issues, make sure it isn't loose, and yeah, see how this thing runs. Seems to be fine. So of course all that's left to do now is to install the air filter boxes and the engine covers. And as you can see, everything is now back together. That's another job on this thing done. Okay then guys, so there we go, job done. So we have replaced the water pump, thermostat, fan clutch and the fan blade wheel itself, and obviously the main task that we have done is fit the Bmw little stent, which is, you know, supposedly going to cure the, you know, one of the most common and like biggest problems there are with these V8 and V12 engines. And yeah, you know, all this work that we're doing, it is definitely going to mean that if I don't keep the car for a while, you know, the next owner, whoever it may be, they're going to have a very, very reliable car, because yeah, we're tackling, you know, the biggest jobs. Out of the list of jobs that I've got for this car, this is probably the biggest one. You know, just for the fact that the amount of time that it takes, and you know, the amount of parts that we need to remove. But yeah, it went fairly smooth, to be fair. You know, there wasn't too many issues. It was a bit tight, you know, working down, and did manage to scrape my arms on the fan shrouding about 350,000 times, but yeah, we got the job done anyway. Yeah, I want to thank all of you guys for watching. I want to thank Bmw as well for sending that kit out to me. Guys, if you do suffer from this issue, and you know, when I say this issue, when you suffer from the common V8 and V12 BMW coolant leak from the timing chain cover, then yeah, you know, this is the for sure, I'm pretty sure the only way to fix it without pretty much disassembling your entire engine. So yeah, guys, check them out. There will be some links down in the description box below. But yeah, I want to thank all of you guys for watching. Please give this video a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you have not already done so, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.